Hi friends, please join me on my journey of creating and securing a simple end-to-end web application using AWS. My goal is implement as many security controls as I can to create multiple security layers and avoid single point of failure. So first, I want to enable CloudTrail. CloudTrail records all AWS activity in your account. It's a great way to keep integrity of your data as well as it provides compliance. So let's navigate to CloudTrail. CloudTrail. Okay, and then click on create a trail. Let's give a name to this trail. Gonna be just boring trail. You know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna use create trail workflow. And then I'm gonna put trail here. So very important to enable for all accounts in my organization. I made a mistake not to enabling that, and I couldn't see any changes that I made from the different account. So I want to point that they use encryption, and I'm just gonna give the same name as an alias trail, and I'm gonna disable log file validation because it costs extra, and everything will leave the same, and then click on next. Management events, read and write next. Okay, create a trail. Okay, we can see the trail was created, and then later we're gonna check to see if it actually recorded anything, any changes in my accounts. So after that, I would like to navigate to IAM, Identity and Access Management. And I want to create a user to follow a best practice, not to use a root account. So we're going to follow least privilege security principle. Right now I logged in as a root account, and I'm just going to go back and show that as a root account I have, I can see like everything that's going on my account. So now let's navigate back to IAM and create a user. So click on create a user, then give a username. Let's give a name project manager, and then click I want to create a IAM user, custom password, and just type the password, and then I'm going to disable that user must create a new password at next sign in, because I'm basically creating a password for myself. And I'm going to click next, and I need to attach policies directly. And then I have a list of policies that I need to add. I'm going to work with Amplify, Administrator Access Amplify, then API Gateway, then DynamoDB, and then Lambda function. And EC2 full access. Okay, then click on next, double check Amplify, API Gateway, DynamoDB, Lambda function. Okay, then click create a user. Okay, so you can download as CSV file, or you can email instructions. I don't need it, so I'm just gonna click on return to user list. Okay, continue. So now I'm gonna sign out as a root user and sign in as a product manager. Oops. ID password. Oops, my bad. Okay, sign in. I can never. And now I sign in as a product manager, and as you can see, I don't have access to see cost and usage anymore, which is great. So now let's go back to our web application, and I need to create and host a web page. And one way to implement that in AWS is Amplify. I'll use Amplify to deploy and host that web page. Now I'm gonna navigate to Amplify. Okay, Amplify. And click on New App. And I'm just gonna host web app. But just to know, Amplify can actually build and host web page, but I only use it to deploy and host app. And I'll create a simple index.html file later. So right now I'm not going to use any Git provider, so deploy without Git provider, then click continue. I need to give an app a name, magic calculator, environment name, and dev for development. They provide examples dev test. So then I need actually to create a index.html new folder. I'm just gonna open Gitbash here, and I'll use Nana index.html, and I'll grab code that I grabbed from Tiny Technical Tutorials. I just updated a little bit. I changed the name, and it's not final HTML file, so I'll update it later. And I'm just gonna close it. Save it. Okay, for now. So I need to zip it up. Send to compressed folder index. So now I need to drag and drop it here, and then click on save and deploy it. So now it's creating an app. Magic calculator for success. And I'm just gonna click on the link, and we'll see just simple web page. So we have a live web page for now. Now I'm going to work on doing some math, and I will execute a Lambda function. A Lambda function is a code that runs servicely and responds to some triggers. Basically, it's a code that sits and runs when you'll trigger that. We'll use Python code and Python's library to do a calculation. So I'm going to navigate to Lambda. Click on create a function. After from scratch, function name, magic calculator function, then runtime, I'll go with Python, the latest version, and everything stay the same, create function. Okay, now we need to update the code, and I'll use, I'm gonna grab the code. Also, it's not final code, and I'll update it later as well. And also, I grabbed this code from Tiny technical tutorials as well. And so it's a Python code. I'm just in the process of learning Python, so I'm not a professional. From what I can see, that we just importing JSON, importing math from Python's library, and so this one def lambda handler, it's common for every lambda function, and we just specify what we're gonna use, and then it just code that, like, I get it just grabbing math.pow for power, and then as a result we'll see our like math result. So now important thing, we need to deploy it, and then we click on configure test event, create a new test event. I'm just gonna call it test, and then event JSON. So we have only two values, and I have it right here. I'm just gonna replace it. So base and exponent, and it can be any other. And what I learned in Python, that we usually put quotes when it's a string, and we don't use any quotes when it's integer. So then we click on save, and then click on test, and test it, and we got a result 200, and result is 8. So lambda function is working. So for now we have live web page, and we have a lambda function that can do calculation. So next, but like I said before, lambda function is a simple code that runs once something triggered, and we need something to invoke that code, and we can use API Gateway to do that. So let's navigate to API Gateway. So this is API Gateway, and I just want to point that AWS API Gateway encrypts all API traffic using HTTPS by TLS by default, ensuring data confidentiality and integrity. And now I'm going to click on Create API, and we'll use REST API build. So we're going to create new API name, just magic calculator API, description a little bit like that, then create API. So now it's just like empty API that we just created. And what do we need to do? We need to create method. So how this API gonna be called. So we'll use post method. So when our user gonna type some numbers and click on calculate, so it's gonna be post HTTPS method, and this will call API gateway, and then they ask integration type, and we'll use lambda function because we want this API gateway to trick our lambda function. Then we need to specify which lambda function we want to trick, and a magic calculator function. Then we're gonna click on create method. Okay. Another important thing, we need to enable CORS. I'm gonna click on enable CORS, and CORS allows web app runs in one origin to be able to access resources on a different origin. And because our web app is running on amplified domain and Lambda on another one, we need this CORS. I made a mistake first time, and I didn't enable CORS, and like I couldn't get any result on my web app. So I'm just gonna click post and click on save it. Okay, so we can see like the structure, how it's gonna work. So client, our user, use like method request with post. So it will call API, and integration request is lambda function, and then lambda function will do the math calculation, and then it will get back response to the user. So now we need to finally deploy API. We need to give us new stage name. So I don't know, tab. Click deploy. So we need to grab this invoke URL. We'll use it there. I'm just gonna paste it to my notepad. Then let's go back to our API post, and let's test it. Click on test, and request body, I just use the same format that we used before, just maybe change numbers. Okay, let's do 3 and 4, and click on test. And yay, response body is 200, success, and result is 81. Okay, what do we have now? We have a live web page, we have lambda function that can do calculation, and now we have API that can trick our lambda function. So next thing I want to do is incorporate database. Also, we need to handle some permissions. So let's navigate to DynamoDB database. So DynamoDB database is a lightweight NoSQL database, and it has a lot of different options. So I'm gonna first click on create table. name table. I'm gonna go with the same magic calculator TP, partition key ID. I'm gonna go with default settings for now, but I just want to show you something. Yeah, that's how many times I created table. Okay, it's working. Okay, magic calculator TP. So I just want to show you that you can actually do backup. Like you can just click on edit and enable it, which is great and provides availability to your web application, like availability to your data. And then additional settings. Encryption. So also it provides enhanced security by encrypting all data at rest using encryption key store. So right now it's using owned by Amazon DynamoDB key, but you can change it and use different one. I'm not gonna save any changes. So I just need also to copy Amazon resource name. I'm gonna need later. Yeah, just one thing. I'm not sure if I copied invoke URL before. My bad. I just need to go back to IAM. Oh my god, IAM. API Gateway. And click on magic post. And the stages. Oh yeah, I had it. Okay. So now we need to handle some permissions. Let's go back to Lambda function and click on magic calculator function and then configurations, permissions, and role name. So as you can see, access denied. Our product manager doesn't have permissions. So now I need to sign out as a product manager and sign in. Actually, I want to try to sign in as an admin, and we'll see. I'm just trying not to use root account. Never. So I enable MFA, multi-factor authorization, and let's see my god. Submit. Let's go to Lambda function. Magic calculator function, configuration, permissions, role name. This looks good so far. And add permission, create inline policy, and use JSON. So I also have code that is ready. I just need to copy and paste it. So basically, we're giving Lambda function this permission to write into DynamoDB. We just need to update our ARN. Let me grab it. Just paste it and click on next. Policy name. Just gonna go with magic calculator policy. Create policy. Yay! I guess it did work. Okay, let me sign out again and sign in. I'll try to make it fast. Sign in. Yeah, we're back as a product manager. Go to Lambda function. Let's just see configuration, permissions. Yeah, so we can see the role name has changed. So now we need to update the code. So I'm just gonna grab from my previous calculator to function updated code version on the function. So again, I don't know Python code well. I'm just learning, and from what I can see that they're importing like JSON, math, and what I learned both of three. It provides like time and date formatting when we'll write results into our DynamoDB database. It will provide date and time when this result was made. Also, another update, like we added DynamoDB, and here we need to update DynamoDB table name. I don't remember. DB. Tables, magic. Okay. So we just need to update calculator table. So what I added myself, I just added validation, input validation here. This part of code. Everything else I just copied from Tiny Technical Tutorials again. So now I click on deploy, and I just want to modify event JSON. So now let's do 6 by 3, 6 power 3. Click on save and test it. Yay! So it did work again. So that's when I gave right permissions. Now we can check our DynamoDB table and see if we have anything. Yay! So we can see item return, the one that we just tested, and as you can see, we have date and time here. So what do we have now? We have a live web page. We have API that can invoke Lambda function that can do math, and also it writes a result into DynamoDB database. So the only thing is missing is a connection between our web page to our API gateway. And to fix that, we need to update our index.html file. So I have open HTML file. It's dated index.html file, and we can see that we have an input validation function, and we also have function to call API. And at this moment, I need to update fetch. I need to add our invoke URL. I'm just gonna grab it from my notepad and paste it here, and then save it. Now again, we need to zip it up, send to compressive folder index, and we just need to drag it again to amplify page. Deployment successfully completed. Let's open tab, and so the base number would be 5 and power of 3. And like before, I'm gonna click on calculate. I just want to explain what's gonna happen. So when we click calculate button, that HTML file will call API, and then it will trigger Lambda function, which does the calculation and writes to the database DB, and then we'll get a pop-up message with a response in the browser through API gateway. So let's click it, calculate. Yay! Yeah, we got a result 125. So we can click OK, and then let's go back to our DynamoDB database. Let's open a new tab and DynamoDB database. And choose our table, Magic Calculator DB, explore table items. Yeah, and as you can see, we got our result here. So now let's try something else. 3 23, calculate, 27, okay, go back to DynamoDB, let's update it, yay, and we got it here. Okay, so now I would like to try not to insert any numbers and some letters, and then you just symbols, this one, and then click on calculate, and you get a message like invalid base number, invalid exponent number. So our input validation is working, and I hope that it actually will protect a web application from cross-site scripting, from SQL injection. So in this example, it can be any SQL injection because we don't have a SQL database. But just as a like example. So what we can do next we can check our CloudTrail and see is it actually working. And you don't have permission to access this resource. Yeah, of course. Why product manager would be able to access these logs. Okay, let's again sign out and sign in. This time I'll probably sign in as a root user. CloudTrail. Log location. CloudTrail on ES2. Yeah, and as you can see, we have logs. So it did work. Now another thing that I just very quickly want to point out, like not war. There's no so WAF and Shield. So about DDoS attacks, actually AWS had this feature like Shield getting started. So AWS Shield managed DDoS protection service, and cost is like 3,000 monthly. So I'm sorry guys that I didn't show you how to like use it. I'm very sorry, but it's just too expensive. And now we can click on AWS Web, click getting started, create ACL, access control list. So what we can do here, we can create a WAF, web application firewall. And resource type, we're gonna do regional resources, like we have like API gateway, and we need to choose Ohio because our web application lives on Ohio region. Name simple WAF, no description, and then add the resources or magic calculator, add, then click on next, add rules, and I want to show you that they have rules, like Amazon provides some rules, and some of them has cost, but they also have free rule groups, and which is very interesting to me, is Amazon IP reputation list. So I just want to click edit, then add rules, and so the rule is default web ACL action for requests that don't match any rules. So if request doesn't match any rules that Amazon provided here, it will allow to go through, and then click on next. Rules, next. Next, stay the same, and create web ACL. Oh, wow, it takes too long. Yay, we successfully created the web AC WAF.